Jai Shri Krishna to all. Welcome to Path to Anandam Gita series. Freedom from pains and miseries to happy, healthy and peaceful life. Based on 108 mantras, Bhagavad Gita and meditation. And today's subject is, who should I worship? Deity or Lord Krishna? Deity or supreme power? This is our series of 53. So pranam to Guruji, Hariharji Maharaj, who blessed us, guided us to be together this morning. I'm Satya Kalra, your host and founder of Path to Anandam, where we guide, help how to be happy as Path to Anandam with the simple techniques, how to be worry-free, fear-free, and live righteous life, stress-free life, anger-free life, worry-free life, based on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, on experiences, learning from all of you, learning from many others who come to us for counseling. So this is the learning group where I learn from all of you and learn from Guruji's Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, and share that teaching, that understanding with all of you. So thank you very much for joining. And whatever you see on this page, it's all blessing from Swami Hariharji Maharaj. With his guidance, he asked me to write the books in a very simple, but very easy to understand. So today's series, it says, why should I worship Lord Krishna? And here Lord Krishna means supreme power, the creator of the universe. Based on Gita's verses, chapter 7, 21 and 22, and also many other verses taken along with that. How does God fulfill our desires? Who qualifies to realize God? And what are the benefits of experiencing his presence? And how can we practice in our daily life, every moment of life, and the homework? And the sankalpa today is, I worship the supreme power. And this all fits along with our series number 1, which says new of me. Trying to self-transform every day of our life, every minute of our life, to higher conscious level and realize the purpose of our life. So let's all pray together, seeking guidance, humbly and surrendering to supreme power, Lord Krishna, just like Arjuna, who was disheartened, confused, who was in Vishad. And then he turned Vishad into Vishad Yoga. In other words, he surrendered to supreme power, Lord Krishna. In other words, he connected himself, he united himself with higher conscious level, who happened to be his friend at that time. He did not know that this friend of his, who became the charioteer of his chariot in this war, is Lord Krishna. And that's where he was just working from his lower self-esteem, lower self-consciousness, confused, and said, Karishe, first, I do not want to get involved into this war. Najotasiti Gopinda. And then finally, Lord Krishna uplifted him to the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. And he eventually got the prasad and understood, and his conscious level went up. And finally he said, Karishe Vachanamta, I will do as you advise. So let's all go on that blissful journey for our self-purification, removing all of our confusions, worries, fears, hurts, and transform them by uplifting our consciousness and realizing who I am, by praying to Lord Krishna, because we are the Arjuna of today who go through this confusion every day. So let's all pray together. Karpanye dosho pete svabhava paschyami tvam dharma samud cheta yichase syani nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapanyam shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapanyam. My heart is overpowered by the weakness of pity. I have lost all my composure and my mind is confused about my duty, my dharma. What should I do? What should I not do? Please tell me what is good for me, not what am I asking for. Instruct me. Why? Because I surrender to you. I'm your disciple. So here, Lord Krishna, through his Bhagavad Gita teachings, which we started from Karma Yoga, he started to guide Arjuna that you are Atma, you are not the body. And he did not understand. So he taught him, gave him the skills of Karma Yoga, how you should do your karma for the benefit of the universe. And through that, you will uplift yourself. And then he led him to next subject, Bhakti Yoga, as Gita has 18 chapters with 24,447 words, divided into main 3 yogas, though every chapter of Bhagavad Gita is yoga, uplift ourselves, unite ourselves with the supreme power. It starts with Vishad Yoga, and then finally ends with the Gyan Yoga. So we just completed before Karma Yoga, and we are on the path of Bhakti Yoga, how to do the Karma Yoga with love and compassion for who understand who we are talking about. So that's where Lord Krishna has given him Gyan Vigyan Yoga, the wisdom with understanding and practicing science, which require the facts. So first experience it, understand, and then you will reach to the higher conscious level. So he's gradually taking Arjuna little by little, removing each layer of his ignorance like an onion and taking him to the essence of ultimate Anandam. Through Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, meditation, which is called Dhyan Yoga, Raj Yoga, sometimes it is called. And then this is the ultimate summary of Bhagavad Gita, which I put it together through 7 steps, little by little by little by little, going from Vishad to Anandam, ultimate prasad, union with God, and you knowing, self-realizing who I am. So everyone in the universe have a one goal, to be happy. And due to that happiness, they worship many different gurus, different deities. And name of that, there are many religions have been formed. And nowadays, there is so much misunderstanding, disagreements, and fights about different religions because everyone thinks my God is better, my religion is better, my God is better. And this is the verse which Lord Krishna explains us so well. And he says, Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta, shraddha jachit ichhati, tasya tasya chalam shraddhyam, tam ev vidyam. Whatever form, name, and method a devotee choose to worship with faith, with shraddha, then he says, Satya shraddhaya yukta tasyas dharadna miyate labte cha tatam. Labte cha tatam. This is a very important part. Labte. Kamanye vihitam tan. I make his faith steady in that very form. So whatever form, name, and method a devotee choose to worship with faith, I make his faith steady in that very form. Tasya chalam shraddha. I put them in that faith, help them to be more close to that particular deity, whoever they choose, whatever form they choose. Endowed with such steadfast faith, he worships that deity and gains his wishes, which are in reality granted by me only. Here he explains, he says, doesn't matter whatever form you see here, person, devotee is connected with, resonates with, worship it. He says it's okay. He's giving us the full freedom. Whether you are the Bhakta of Guru Nanak Ji, Sai Baba, Hanuman Ji, Ganesh Ji, Mata, Krishna, whoever is Shiv Ji, he says it's all acceptable. Why? Because he endowed with such steadiness faith. With that faith, what happens? They get their desires fulfilled. They become happy once the desire is fulfilled. But how this desire is fulfilled? This chapter is Gyan Vigyan, science, and there is a science behind it. Once we understand this process, then we will not be upset or we will not be criticizing other religions unless they are on the different path. But if their mission is all Sarvabhuti Terata, be happy, be in Anandam and spread that Anandam, then it's all okay. But Lord Krishna says how it happened. First of all, we should understand how does God fulfill our desires? How these celestial, or they call it demigods or celestial gods, fulfill our desires. It's just like the power of God, the current of God. There's the supreme vibration of God, because we are all made with energy. So analogy of that analogy is all these gadgets are run by energy, by current. But we think my refrigerator is working, my microwave is working, my radio is working, my TV is working. We all think that those appliances are working. But there is a science behind it. There is a reason behind it, because there is a current. If there is no current, there is no electricity. None of them will work. Similarly, when we connect, like here, if it is unplugged, there is no connection, it won't work. Similarly, if we are focusing on any deity, we are connected. And with that connection, our mind gets so hopeful, worry-free, fear-free, because we are connected with the supreme power. In other words, our mind is so calm, so equanimous. And then we merge, we connect with that high energy, that same vibration, we start vibrating as that deity. And at that vibration level, whatever desires comes in our mind, if they are good for the humanity, or if they fulfill, I mean, we are talking about the deities here, so they get fulfilled. Based on this, the book you must have heard, Secret, has been published and has become very bestseller, and not the bestseller all over the world, because by connecting with calmness, first calming ourselves, and then connecting with supreme power, or even not the supreme power, but with that desire, we get connected. And then that desire gets fulfilled. So that's where the science is. Science is when you cleanse your mind, when your wavelength is equal to the supreme power, then the desire gets fulfilled. Good example I can relate to it. When we are so connected with our children, we are thinking about their well wishes. And if there is any situation, we pray for them. Or sometimes even when we think about them and they all of a sudden call us. Why? We call ESP. But actually, our heart is connected with their heart. Our consciousness is connected with their consciousness. And all of a sudden, the phone call comes without calling them. And I'm sure we all have that experiences. Similarly, Satya Sai Baba or many other saints, they have a power to manifest. How they do it? Consider them as a deity or demigod, whatever. The person has a full faith in that, suppose Sai Baba here. Focus on Satya Sai Baba. When people used to go to visit him, then he would manifest certain things for them. Like suppose somebody is devoted to Jesus, then he will manifest the pendant of the Jesus with the chain handed to that person. And all of a sudden we think, oh wow, Satya Sai Baba knows that my religion is, I'm Christian, and he manifested Jesus, a symbol for me, the cross, or Om, whatever. How does that happen? The study shows, and I went into a very, very, very deep meditation and got the answer that these supreme powers are so pure. They are totally connected with their supreme power. And whatever they want to think about or wish for it, they just put their hand like this or like this, and all of a sudden the things come in their hands. Because all those things are there, like all the metals, all these, whatever we desire, tangible things, they are made with 5 tattvas, and they are there. So with there is so much power in person's brain, in mind, and the connection, and anything one wants, they can download it. Similarly, if we read Bhagavad Gita, all of a sudden so many good thoughts, so many new ideas come. How? Because we are so connected. We are not worrying about anything else. We are totally connected with Lord Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. And all of a sudden the new ideas, which we never thought about it, or we have some questions, they get answered, they come. The key here is, I put it here, faith. Because we have that time, faith. We are so focused, we are so calm, we are so connected. All of a sudden the manifestation comes, whether it comes in the materialistic world, or it comes in the phone calls, or it comes in the answers, or from whatever. We have it in our mind, those desires get fulfilled. So here I put it here, what is the process? Same current, but operates differently in the gadgets. And we think gadgets is running, but current is making it run. Desires are fulfilled through vibrations, energy, but one thinks it's fulfilled by deity. So there is a deity, there is our faith, there is our calmness, cleansingness, come together. And then Lord Krishna, the supreme power, through them fulfill our desires. So here it says, when everyone has praise to God, then the God, supreme power, fulfills the desire through their deities. So we just have in this session, whole chapter is regarding Vasudev Sarvamiti. God is all. God is the essence of all. So sometimes people ask the question, what does God do? And one of the answer is, God fulfills our desires. As long as they are for the benefit of God, for the universe. As Arjuna's, he fulfilled his desires to remove his darkness, his confusion, and bless him with the Bhagavad Gita. Now you might be asking a question, or I had actually asked the questions. You know, there are people like terrorists and all this, their desires get fulfilled too. They want to kill somebody, they want to do it, and then they are so connected, but they are not connected with God, they are connected with devils. So it's their connection, whether they connect with the devil, and they can name their God, they can do whatever they want, then their bad desires get fulfilled. But then eventually what happens? Whether it's a good desires or bad desires. But how these black magics and all that work through that, there's a different subject, but that's a similar principle behind it. But here we are talking about the desires fulfilled by God, not by the devils, not by Rakshasas, just by God here. So what happens? Here Lord Krishna says, the material gain of these ignorance people who are understanding are temporary. And who is he talking about? He's talking about the people who all the time back to God, fulfill this desire. Those are temporary. and one can relate to it. And there are beautiful stories, but basically, Swamiji told me this. He says, first people come and they ask me that Swamiji bless me for my child to get married. When that happened, then next time they come and they say, Swamiji bless us with one grandson or grandbaby in the family. He says, fine, I bless them. Then they get the grandchild. Then they come back and they say, Swamiji bless us that our child goes to a good school, become a good, and get good education. And they say it's continuous. But they never come to ask me that they want to uplift themselves or they want to be more spiritual, etc. But they keep asking me the worldly things. And that's what most of the time people, including myself, live in that ignorance. Who are those ignorant people who live in the darkness? Although now our goals have changed because we are now with Lord Krishna, with Bhagavad Gita, so our materialistic desires have minimized. But still, there is some situations we go there, and Lord Krishna says there is nothing wrong with that. Go to that deity, come to me, I will fulfill your desires, but keep in mind what is the problem when your desires get fulfilled. You keep asking one after other. So gain of all worldly desires is temporary. That's what it says. Material gains of these ignorant people, poor understanding people, the ignorant people are temporary. The worshipper of celestial gods, worshipper of all these different deities, go to celestial abode, but my devotee surely come to me. So what he is saying, these people waste their entire life fulfilling their worldly desires. So they get off on the way. In other words, their main focus, the purpose of life is defocused. They don't understand that their purpose of life is to ultimately go to Param Dham and realize who I am, Chit Ananda. They keep wasting their life fulfilling and praying for one desire to another desire. They do not reach to their final destination. Like, for example, if I board on the flight going to New York, and on the way, I just get off in Chicago. And then I decide to stay in Chicago. And then I say, well, it's a good city. From there, I should go to another city to roam around and go around and see and do all the worldly things. And I keep roaming around. I forgot that my destination was going to New York because I got sidetracked. Similarly, these people go to different destination, different dhams. And they keep going in the life cycle of birth and death and birth and death and birth and death. And here comes, we talked about previously, different destinations, different dhams, different abode. Like there are many different abode, different lokas. Basically means is here is the different lokas. So there is a Prathi loka, Patal loka. So the people who we are talking about, who were just hurting other people, praying to devils, working with the devils, they go into the lower lokas because they hurt others. But people who just walk into this worldly desire, they keep coming back and forth on this Prathi loka, earth loka. But the people who have the higher desires, higher for supreme goal, that they keep going, like they say, they go to Ram loka, because they go to different lokas. There are many different lokas, but the ultimate loka is the supreme powers loka, the Param Dham. And that's where the ultimate purpose here is. So instead of getting lost in this universe, he says, the solution to this problem is, there is nothing wrong of worshiping different gods, but the one thing, our goal should be, always have the goal in mind, realize God. My purpose of life is to realize supreme power. But how can it be done? Who can qualify to do that? So number one, supreme goal must be set. That my purpose of my life is to reach here, Param Dham, experience Chit Ananda, not just here. But how one can reaches it? With the faith, with the firm faith. Not like one day one guru or one deity has fulfilled my desire, so I am just praying to that, and then my desire did not get fulfilled. So somebody recommended another temple, another deity, another guru, then we keep changing. That's not what he means. He says, have a steadfast, firm belief, firm shraddha in your supreme power. But when you believe, when you have a firm faith, then surrender it. Don't put yourself into it. It's just like, when we go to the doctor for surgery, and then doctor wants to take care of our body. And then if we hold his hand and he says, no, don't do it this way, do it this way, do it this way. Then you think doctor will be successful? Would I be healthy? Would I get my surgery done successfully? No, because I have misguided. I have interfered. The doctor's way of doing, the correct way of doing it. Similarly, if we interfere and do not surrender, then we are interfering God and not letting him do the job. But whatever desires are fulfilled, as I said, as the Lord Krishna says, yo yam yam, Shraddha, whoever has the Shraddha, I fulfill their desires through that deities. And they get fulfilled. But what should they do with that gain? Whether it's a materialistic gain or desires, other gains, they should use not just for selfish reasons. Like suppose people pray for God, big cars and house and all that money, they get fulfilled. Those desires get fulfilled. But then they should share with the rest of the world, whatever resources they have. This is called seva. They should serve his creation, do his karma yoga. Every action they should turn into dharma. In other words, they serve with their resources for the benefit of the society, with love and compassion, not bragging. I donated this money there. I served. I went and do seva in this place, etc. No, whatever we do selflessly and surrender to God. That's where the Hare Rama, Hare Krishna's society is. They just talk about only things serving God, God, God. Everything they do it for the sake of God. They are such a good surrender, faith in Lord Krishna. And they live in God's consciousness. And that's where one of the requirements is. Live in God's consciousness. Vidur yukta chesa. Live every moment in the consciousness of God. So when we have a faith, when we surrender, when we do karma, dharma, and live all the time, our mind goes into there. We are thinking nothing else. We don't have time to think about worry or fear or anything because our mind is so focused on serving this universe. Or people who study Bhagavad Gita, they are so much embedded into that one, so much all the time, or whatever spiritual practices they do, the yoga, pranayama, meditation, they are so much embodied with that they don't have time to do anything else. And that's where it says, live every moment in my consciousness. And the benefits, when we start reaping the benefits, we start experiencing God. We know God. We start, although God, Lord Krishna says it's very durlabh, as we studied before in one of the verses, he says it's very difficult that one will know me, because because they're all busy in this, fulfilling their desires and going into life and death over and over and over. That's why they do not recognize them, because their desires are taking all of their time and they waste full of their life. But once they've set this goal, they follow this path, then they know me, and the benefits are not only they know themselves, they know supreme power, they know their Chit Ananda, so they know their true nature themselves as well. So here are the time for practice. This is the summary that there are different practices. I just mentioned those. And there are many other ones, but I put that 4 practices. And the 4 benefits. One becomes the best seeker. And eventually he or she becomes from Jeev Atma to Dharmatma to Mahatma and to Paramatma, and he person knows God. In fact, he becomes God. But again, in summary, the requirements are faith, devotion, firm faith, seva, selfless service to his universe, and then surrender. Then one becomes purified. In other words, they move from tamasic nature to rajasic to sattvic, which is requirement for self-transformation. And they become the best devotees. They become the true devotee. And then they attain the purpose of life. They realize who they are. Then they ultimately reach the goal, which is Vasudev Sarvam Iti. They finally realize that there is nothing me. I'm not the doer, but all starts from the morning to evening here. Start the day by living in his consciousness through mantras, by studying Bhagavad Gita, taking care of the body, but still focusing that I'm not taking care of the body, I'm taking the care of this temple where God resides in me through yoga, pranayama, meditation, and then practice whatever I need to practice, because this path seems very simple. But what happens? During the day, we might go one step backward. Something might happen which might not resonate with us. And we might go into Vishad like Arjuna. But by practicing this with Bhagavad Gita, we are uplifted. But whatever points takes the smile away from me, brings me in Vishad, we should practice continuously, and everybody has on a different level of path. Then the different situations come. So we continue to take that message and continue to practice during the day. And then evaluate our day. How did I do it? And then if I have missed something, forgive myself. Or if I get hurt or hurt someone, learn to practice forgiveness. And then thank God for taking me through this and let go. Sarva dharman paritajye mamekam sharanam braj. Aham tvam sarpapebhyo mokshashyami ma shuche. So Lord Krishna says, once you live in my consciousness, here whether you use my form, sakarup, or you do it through Om mantra, whatever, don't worry. I will take you to this Param Dham as long as you are on this path. So our homework is be aware and ask ourselves, that self-inquiry, because this homework is so important. I hope all of you are practicing and taking this very seriously. Swadhyaya Abhyasnam in Bhagavad Gita. Swadhyaya Abhyasnam, not blaming others, but focusing, being on the path of self-improvement, self-purification. Then the self-realization comes. So that's why I put the self-awareness. And the goal here is Vasudev Sarvam Iti. So these are the questions one asks. Do I have a supreme goal of self-realization or God realization? Number 1 requirement. How much do I trust God? How much faith I have in God? When do I remember God? Only in tough times? That's okay. Tough times, if you remember him, that's good. But totally, do I forget him when I'm totally having every desire, feel like very happy in the materialistic world and lost there? Do I remember God at that time? Or do I just remember him only to fulfill my worldly desires? Do I offer my services to God's creation, his creation? Do I surrender to his will? Do I live in his consciousness, in his awareness that he's around me, he's within me, he's in everybody? Do I see God in everybody? And then do I experience his presence? So self-inquiry is the path to self-improvement. Continuously, as we spoke previously, Gita is a mirror. It guides us, it tells us what are the spots I have to remove from my face to shine, get that beautiful aura, and I shine like sun. What brings me to the darkness? These are the questions we have to ask ourselves. So our sankalpas are coming from chapter 7. We have already concluded up to chapter 6 and have summarized previously, but now this is the end of chapter 7, Gyan Vigyan Yoga. And these are the sankalpas we have done. And very first sankalpa in this series was to set our goals, that Vasudev Sarvamiti. I have to realize that I am not the doer. My body is temporary. And Vasudev is the one who is creating the whole, who has created the all universe. And I have to experience him. So we have the next one. I know the brilliance of God, not just setting the goals, but now on the path of brilliance of God. And I am the true devotee. I have to become the true devotee. And then I experience him. I experience Vasudev Sarvam Iti. And we have to learn, practice, practice, practice. And then it comes that I know God. So then finally, which we started this with it, Matta Partaram, Nanatte Kinchid Asti Dhananjaya, Mai Sarvamidam Proktam, Sutre Mani Gana. I am like a Mani Gana in this necklace. In the necklace, the sutra, which holds the whole Manigan, whole every pearl, every moti of the necklace, like every thing, living being, non-living being, that energy, that sutra is me. So finally, once we start focusing, living in awareness, and start experiencing it. So sankalpa here is, again, final sankalpa is, I know God. I know Lord Krishna says only 1 in thousands realizes God. But that could be me too. Or 1 in millions, not thousands, 1 in millions. Koi baat nahi. We could be one. We should have a patience. But the main thing is I have to put the seed of learning of Bhagavad Gita, knowing that I know God. Once I put that seed, then little by little, it will blossom into fruits, and I will experience that I am Chit Ananda. So this is a slow process, but the sankalpa that I want to know God is very important, not the kamasya tattva. In other words, samsaric desires, worldly desires, but the sankalpa for I know God. Then little by little, shanai shanai uppar med, buddhya buddhya grihita, just like the torus turtle. Atma Samana Kratvana Kinchidapi Sansay. Then we just have to live in the consciousness of God. Then we will experience God. So thank you very much for attending. I worship Supreme Power. I worship Lord Krishna. And by doing it, happiness, healthiness, and peaceful life comes, not just only the Anandam life or the ultimately reaching the Chit Ananda, but happiness, peaceful life while we are living in this world are also experienced. It gives us the freedom from pains and miseries to happy, healthy, and peaceful life. So thank you very much for attending.